Hey guys, what's going on? Today I'm doing a video about Silas Piers Seasonal Swing Trader. It's another premium product that it's worth checking out. So I thought I'd give a little introduction to it and see what you guys think. So Silas Piers is this guy right here. So this is him. He has an extensive track record trading professionally for I think probably a decade or two. He basically has done everything from futures, equities, options, currencies, just everything. And honestly, I think he has a lot more credibility than most of the gurus in the field. He's even worked at the Chicago Board of Trade as a very young guy as well, just out of college, which is pretty amazing. So working on a global trading desk there is pretty cool. So you can see he's done a lot of work for high net worth individuals like banks and hedge funds and stuff like that. So obviously this guy knows his stuff. He also has a lot of different licenses, which most of these people that are doing trade alerts or whatever, or trading programs, don't really have. So it's quite impressive to see what this guy actually has. So he has a company called Seasonal Swing Trader. I'm trying out the Divergence Dominator Pro, which I want to talk about in this video. He has some other products which I'm going to cover as well, but not in this video, probably at a later date. So I've started to use Divergence Dominator Pro. It includes an indicator called the turning point indicator, or TPI. So it's always good to be able to try and predict where a chart is going to turn around roughly. Obviously it's difficult. With this Divergence Dominator Pro package though, it includes an indicator called the TPI indicator, which I'll show you about in a minute. And it can be put on Thinkorswim or TradeStation, TradingView, all these different platforms. There's also a scanner and some other stuff about, it's basically video lessons and things too, which is pretty cool. So the turning point indicator is pretty interesting. So it's basically based on some key levels and the concept of divergence. So for you guys that don't know much about bullish and bearish divergence, I put together a quick little slide for you here. So basically divergence is when the price of a stock is moving in the opposite direction that the technical indicator that you're using, an oscillator, is basically doing the opposite of. So it's a leading indicator because of this, and it can really indicate when a change in the trend might be about to occur. So it really shows that the trend is weakening, and it might lead to a change in the price direction, which is what we as traders are looking for, right? Some leading way to know that something is about to happen. And divergence is a really popular way, underutilized in my opinion. A lot of people that are pretty successful traders I know haven't really even heard of or really fully understand what bearish and bullish divergence is. But this little plot on the right kind of shows a little bit of that. So the blue line is the equity or stock price. You can see it's making new highs. This little plot beneath it is an oscillator that you're using as an indicator, so something like the MACD. And you can see that it's making lower highs. So you're getting these lower highs here, which is in contrast to the higher highs of the stock price. So that's a bearish divergence. It suggests that we're going to see some downside based on this. And the opposite is true for bullish. So you're making lower lows on the stock price, but then you're making higher lows on the MACD or other indicator that you're using. And it gets more complicated. There's hidden divergence and then exaggerated. But that's the basic underlying principle. And you can see that from looking at a chart, when this happens. But the nice thing about the TPI indicator that these guys have put together, or Silas has put together, is that you don't have to sit there and watch your indicators, right? They've simplified it down to something that's really quite elegant. So you can see basically the thing they have on Thinkorswim is these four lines that appear when there's significant bearish or bullish divergence, along with some key levels incorporated in there. But you get an indicator system that comes up. It's just these four lines and a little arrow. So you see this little green arrow down here. That's saying there's some bullish divergence going on about this level. So the blue is the entry price. This doesn't move, it just stacks these up straight away, and you can watch them from then on out. So The basic idea is that the TPI, turning point indicator, these lines, is added to all your charts on thinkorswim, and I'll show you some examples on my thinkorswim in a minute. But the it's so simple. It's like you get this sort of pre-signal, which is this green, and then if the price breaks this blue line, that means the trade is on basically, and you buy in. And the hope is that since this is a bullish divergence sign, you'll get this price just wandering up, and then there's these two profit targets that are placed here and here. So take some profit here, hopefully get up to profit target 2, but if not, it takes some more profit, and then this thing failed. So you can see this example worked really well. There's a red stop loss line right here, so obviously you'd want to be taking profits up here because it started to come back down and probably stopped out. So it's a very simple but fairly elegant indicator. It is able to take the idea of divergence and key levels and just kind of put it into one simple, easy to use thing for traders to use, which I think is pretty cool. There's a bit more to it than that, but that's the basic breakdown. So in this article that I've written about Silas and his programs, I've also put in some stuff about divergence as well, so I'll leave a link in the description so you can go and check that out. But here's one basically, so this would be bullish divergence. The MACD down here is making a higher low, these are making lower lows on the price, and you can see very shortly after we had this reversal. And this would be marked with those lines with the TPI or turning point indicator that these guys are selling. So pretty cool. So let's go over to thinkorswim and I'll show you some real examples. So this is SPY on the 1 year, 1 day. So you can see that there's a bunch of lines, so you can look at these ones first. So here is a short signal based on the turning point indicator. So you can kind of see here how we had, I can get drawing some lines going here, make this a little bit easier. So I'm not showing the oscillators that this is using, I'm just showing the price of the stock here, so the underlying. So you can kind of see how we're having these higher lows, and then suddenly this blue line prints. So basically it's saying there's some bearish divergence here. So we have this signal, and then the entry at the blue line, and you can see we very quickly went down to the first profit target here, and then retraced back up. So hopefully this would be a winning trade if you had taken at least partial profits here, or the full profits at price target 1. So because this is bearish divergence, the little arrows point down, and our stop loss is up here. And you extend this out, obviously, so people that, if this hadn't reached this, you'd have stopped it up here. But in this case, the trade worked well. So you can see it happening again, almost exactly the same. So you can see that there was bearish divergence again. If we draw lines from the lows here, all the way up to here. So we're making higher lows, but the oscillator underlying this, so the MACD, will have been making lower lows, and therefore you have bearish divergence. So again, it fired this signal here, and you can see that we had this signal that goes all the way down. We plowed through profit target 1, profit target 2, and then retraced all the way back up. So you can see these levels are pretty key levels, right? We're really getting, they're really going down, testing them and coming back up. And I think that's where the magic is in this program, the Divergence Dominator Pro, is that these levels are obviously very key levels. So there's a lot of simplicity here, but it's obviously quite powerful. You can see these really do act as key levels, and they involve this divergence as well. So the same thing here, you can see that we're making higher lows on the price, but the divergence indicated here that we're most likely going to get a change in the price direction, which we did. Again, went down, took out the price target here, which is a nice win, and then reversed again. So you can see this basically repeats over and over again. So those have all been winners. Here's another winner here as well. So again, higher lows, then the MACD starts to make its lower lows. Let's see. So we have this case of bearish divergence again, and again we get this nice sell-off, and we even take out price target 2 here on the bearish signal. So that's another win. So you can see that on this 1 day, 1 year on SPY, I think we pretty much have all winners here. So again, we have this bearish divergence, the signal fires all the way down, buying here. Hopefully you take profits here. If not, you still wouldn't have stopped out and you would have actually gotten away down here and taken profits down here. So I think this is a 100% win rate on SPY. Let's have a look. Here's a long, so this is a bullish divergence. So again, we've got this this type of idea with the price. You can see it almost intersects with the buy price here. We have a bullish divergence signal firing, and it's made its way all the way up to price target 2 with the stop loss down here. So that's the signals on the daily for the SPY. It's a 100% win rate. So there's definitely something to this, definitely a really interesting program. I really like this for swing trading. I'm still testing it, so I'm not like fully done with trying to figure out whether this is something I want to follow. But even in this market, it's held up really nicely. So it's definitely an interesting concept for me. Here's the dashboard for Seasonal Swing Trader. This is where you can buy the products. There's a whole bunch. I've got all these different ones. I'm currently testing this one, Divergence Dominator Pro. So this is where you get your turning point indicator and the scanners and stuff for it. Haven't tried any scanners yet, I've just been using the TPI indicator. It's been working pretty well. And then we have some course modules and things that teaches you the basics, I'd say, pretty good. MACD divergence, momentum, trading zones. There's a lot more to the TPI than just divergence. It adds in a lot about trading zones as well, which is kind of proprietary type stuff, I think. So yeah, kind of simple stuff. So pretty good. I'll keep you guys updated on how this goes, but I really like this indicator so far for its general reliability on the swing trading side of things. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch up with you in the next video. Cheers.